Hallo und willkommen zurück zu Shadowrun Hongkong und wir müssen jetzt hier erstmal wieder rauskommen. Es hat nicht funktioniert, aber wir sind sowieso... Wir liegen hier noch super in der Zeit. Es kann also so auch noch klappen. Es wird vermutlich so auch noch klappen. Wenn wir jetzt da treffen. Ja. Der fährt nach unten. Ne, zweimal verkackt. Da lade ich jetzt lieber. Quicksave. Confirm. Ab in den Ladebildschirm. Speichern im Kampf. Was für ein Schwachsinn. Wobei hier mit diesem Hack-Echtzeit-Dings in Kombination wäre es auch echt assi, wenn man es nicht könnte. Aber da wäre geschicktes oder gutes Game Design besser als so ein Schwachsinn. Hätte man das entsprechend einfacher machen müssen. Aber so ist beides keine Herausforderung. So lädt man einfach, bis es funktioniert. Naja. So. Jawohl. Und das letzte Türchen. Hallo, meine Freunde. Naja. Die sind ja sowieso nicht in Deckung. Das war nichts. Naja. Zerbröselt. Da ist ein Ranged IC. Da holen wir uns mal so ein Verstärkungsprogramm. Den Buff hat die noch drauf. Super. Sauber. Sehr schön. Hat seinen Zweck erfüllt. Ach, egal, weiter. Zweite ist ein W. Erste auch. Muss es das sein? A current of engrams twists and jumps as it flows past. You hack into the current, capturing a cluster of distinct memories, lumpy and fat. One of them hums loudly, calling your attention. Anticipation. The hall is long and ends at his door. He traverses the distance slowly, knowing that he is being observed by his new underlings. And there it is, newly installed, shining like a mirror on a door made from real wood. The brass nameplate. Edward Tsang, the Vice President of Special Projects. Pride swells within him. Jetzt können wir die ganze Geschichte aktivieren. Open the host, Engram Stream File. Active. Lock Engram. Raymond is young executive. Locked. Reintegrate host. Checking engrams. Engram integration failed. Host integration process failed. Was? Verstehe ich nicht. Scanning the files to find a list of procedures that governs the safe removal of subjects from the machine. According to the file, all 4 memory engrams need to be locked into the control hub in chronological order. Then and only then. Ah, okay. Young boy. Middle-aged man. Young boy. Young executive. Middle-aged man. Old man. Integration success. Process initiated. Release Raymond. The clean room echoes with your footsteps as you approach the capsule containing the assist surgical couch. Through the window you can see that the last 8 years have not been so kind to Raymond. The trauma of the last few days is readily apparent. The pasty pallor of his skin and the white growth of stubble on his chin makes him appear far older than 65. He lies unconscious, his chest barely moving, his eyes sunken and his jaw slack. Carefully applied gauze dressing on his balding head surrounds a gleaming metal port, a data jack. A thin bundle of wires runs from the jack into the device mounted to the capsule wall. Oh my god, although his voice is small, it echoes loudly through the clean room. Ray? There's no reply. Crap! Is he in a coma? Not in a coma. Raymond opens his eyes and through the capsule window you can see his dreamy smile. Old Tired. Hello, Mr. Milligan. He must be disoriented from the ACES programming. Looks like we got him just in time. No time to catch up right now. Korda, we've got to move. Hello, Ray. It's time to get out of there. Here. Disconnecting Raymond from the ACES device provides to be straightforward, as does getting him out of the capsule and onto the cleanroom floor. It feels as if he barely weighs anything at all. Although his breathing is a bit erratic, Raymond seems steady enough on his feet. Lead on, Mike. I'll be right behind you. Gucken, ob wir noch wen ummurksen müssen. Hallo. Zu weit hinten. Shit. Aua, das hat gezwiebelt. Kann von da aus immer noch nicht angreifen. Gut. Sogar besser, als ich gedacht habe. Er hat da nichts, womit er was machen könnte. Naja, die haben immer noch Schutz dort. Naja. Das war zwar nicht gesund, spielt aber auch keine Rolle. Ja, kommen wir wahrscheinlich jetzt wieder an einem Ladebildschirm. Ups, sorry. Wo wir wieder nach Hairbrained zurückkehren. Raymond Black. Alarms blare as you hustle Raymond from the Special Project section of Prosperity Tower. But you encounter no resistance. Raymond unsteadily gropes his way through the corridors of the corporate headquarters, holding onto your elbow for support. Occasionally, the old man fingers the gauze dressing on his head with his free hand, wincing when he touches a tender patch. Tense minutes pass between the time you exit the building and enter the MTR station. The team remains on high alert, scanning the streets and buildings for signs of Tsang security forces until, like a stream of cockroaches, you scuttle underground into the cool safety of the mass transit tunnels. You pay the fare, grab Raymond, and make your way to the subway platform, the sound of the old man's ragged breathing loudly rushing past your ear. Seconds tick slowly while you wait for the subway train to arrive. Und jetzt muss ich aber gerade noch aufschreiben, wo wir sind. Das ist jetzt 31. Freeing Raymond und Raymond. Ja. The team hustles Raymond onto a subway car, quietly taking up defensive positions and scoping the platform for signs of pursuit. The old man is unsteady on his feet, but he insists on standing under his own power. He grabs a railing and holds on with white knuckles as the train lurches forward. A group of tourists sit nearby, conspicuously avoiding eye contact with any of you. Your crew looks over the old man with a bandage on the back of his head, exchanging meaningful expressions. Raymond squints as the odd group surrounding him, but his nod indicates that he understands he's among friends. Wood drags his goggles off his head, bending his knees to get a better look at his foster father. A tangled knot of relief, compassion, resentment, and hurt churns across the younger man's face as he wrestles with his confused emotions. Fear of his father's health overcomes them. Raymond, are you alright, little man? I fought against the programming. The old man's voice is little more than a soft croak. His eyes are sunken and surrounded by dark circles. His mother's medical technology must be amazing. It's hard to believe he's walking under his own power so soon after the surgery. Yeah, well, a grandma's an amazing woman. Her high-tech brain surgery, her ownership of the cops, her execution of my partner and those runners, whose face hardens and stands up straight, glaring down at the older man. Oh, and the way she had the plastic-faced man snatch her own son. Amazing woman. She's a real piece of work, no doubt about it. Yeah, tell me about it. Apparently her son is too. Pain and bitterness drip from Wu's deep, raspy voice. This man, whoever he is, has a lot of explaining to do. Are you ready to start telling us the truth, Edward? The old man tilts his head up to the orc towering above him, and although exhausted, his jaw sets firm. Yes, Duncan, I'm ready to tell you everything. I had planned to explain it all when you arrived in Hong Kong. Yeah, your meeting was postponed due to kidnapping and murder. The old man's mouth purses and his lips quiver for a moment, but he regains control. I never believed it would come to that my mother was capable of... He allows the thought to remain unfinished. The old man leans back on the wall of the subway car and gathers his thoughts. He seems to swoon for a moment, but then inhales deeply, swallows hard, and pulls himself erect. My name is Edward Tsang. I am the only son of Josephine Tsang, the CEO of Tsang Mechanical Services, heir to the company. Before I left Hong Kong, I was the vice president of special projects, the up-and-coming star of the company. If you were the golden boy, why did you leave Hong Kong? Was prosperity one of your special projects? Something you've never seen before washes over the tired old man's face. Shame. You've heard of it. Prosperity, I see. Raymond takes a breath, and the labored croak of his voice drops to a monotone. I was part of a project my mother envisioned, to rebuild Kowloon Walled City. A walking neighborhood for underprivileged citizens, fully integrated with job training programs, co-op child care, drug counseling centers. It was a new approach to low-income housing in the East, the springboard to prosperity for hundreds of thousands. Yeah, that doesn't sound like the place I grew up in. Raymond is 20 years away, doesn't seem to hear her. Mother personally oversaw every aspect of the project to ensure that every detail was executed properly. choose each project manager herself, chaired regular status meetings with architects, builders, visited the worksite for surprise inspections. She was driven to make her renewed, revitalized walled city a success. Yeah, well, she didn't do too well with that whole prosperity thing, did she? Not true, Mother's planning was excellent, but the walled city wasn't a prosperity project. Raymond covers his eyes with a liver-spotted hand, the dread radiating from him like the stink of decayed meat. Prosperity was something I built, at the center of the walled city. A moment later, an invisible grip takes hold of your chest, constricts it, squeezing the air from your lungs. Your vision grays from the edges, and the world surges backward, leaving you suspended in the distance, on the periphery of reality. Something is hurling towards you, approaching from the fringe of your mind like a bullet train. It screams ahead, closer and closer until it upon you, overwhelming you with its presence, and then nothing, silence, until a scream pierces your consciousness, pulls you screaming to its source. You are back in the walled city, the city of darkness. Your mind wrenches inwards and then violently jogs back into your skull. Your stomach cramps hard and the taste of bile burns your throat. A thin trickle of cold sweat slides down the small of your back and your eyes refuse to focus. Your crew fares no better. Gobbet pulls herself from the floor, madness and folly squeaking worriedly in the folds of her clothing. Isabel grips a railing, her back to the group, retching silently. Rectus leans against Koshel, his face ashen, staring at the ceiling. He blinks rapidly, processing. Guy Chu stands perfectly still in the center of the car, hands at his sides, his face impassive. Wu breathes deeply, his hands on his knees. That wasn't a dream. He shakes his head like a lion's mane and spits on the floor. That was something else. Gobbet's breathing is shallow. She is covered in a thin sheen of sweat. It was a vision. I saw some sort of machine inside the walled city. Isabel turns, squinting in concentration. Her lips are wide. I was churning something. It felt wrong, impossible. I think it was ripping. I don't know. Reality. The orc girl shudders. It was ripping a hole in reality. Something is here, my friends. Something has arrived. I believe we have just fallen in over our heads. Wu straightens up, drawing the back of a wrist across his mouth. What the hell was that, Raymond? No answer. Wu spins to find Raymond cowering, his head in his hands, shuddering and weeping. She's here. Oh crap, who's here, Raymond? The Queen with 1,000 teeth! Raymond rocks in place, hugging himself, staring past you at someone only he can see. I left prosperity in there, left prosperity in there, left prosperity in there. Oh, looks like Raymond's gone bye-bye. Shh, Gobbet, Isabel whispers her admonishment. Snap your fingers in front of Raymond's face. Ray, back here, Ray! Raymond blinks, his eyes open. His voice is weak, hesitant, disconnected somehow. Are we in the subway? The right corner of his mouth twitches noticeably. Why is he stuttering? He is not. I used to stutter, and this doesn't sound like a stutter to me. Something else is going on. Could be the visions, could be the aborted brain surgery, or some combination of the two. Something bad is happening. We began a long time ago, and I'm responsible. His eyes open wide. The Queen, prosperity, the Queen with 1,000 teeth. These dreams, visions, they've been coming to you for a long time, haven't they? Oh yes, I've been plagued by the nightmares for a long time. Raymond's lips start to tremble. They began years ago, sporadically at first, vague dreams, tight with guilt, with shame. Raymond's eyes roll back in his head and he closes them tight, until this last year when he searches for a word. The frequency began to increase, then the imagery clarified, started to repeat. Teeth, thousands and thousands of teeth. He sways for a moment, dizzy. And the sound of suffering began to drown out even my waking thoughts. That's when I knew I had to come back. To do what? The truth, Raymond. Why did your mother have you kidnapped? Why try to erase your memory? To stop me from correcting a mistake I made a long time ago. He puts a hand out and steadies himself on Wu's arm. My fault. Prosperity. All those people. Those poor people. The Prosperity Project? Shame eclipses the old man's face. You know about Prosperity? Yes, sort of. Wu's tone gets a little sharper. We already covered this, Raymond. We know that it's in the center of the walled city and that Edward Tsang built it. And we have Edward Tsang here to explain the whole thing, right, Edward? Why don't you just start at the beginning? No, what does? Edward, yes, that's me. Edward Tsang is Raymond Black. I know, I can explain. The beginning, sometime in the 20s, my mother was awarded the... He searches for the word. The contract to rebuild in the housing development, the walled city. Well, from the results, I'd say your mom kinda blew it. Prosperity failed. Frustration appears in the old man's tired eyes. I told you, the walled city wasn't the Prosperity Project. Prosperity was the fortune engine I built at the center of the walled city. My special project. Fortune engine? What are you talking about? Who sneers? You can't create fortune, Raymond. You kinda can, gun show. Some practitioners of Feng Shui believe they can do it. Ever heard of the Bagua of the 8 aspirations? Who looks at Gobbet flatly. No, Gobbet. I must have skipped school that day. Me too, and I want to skip it now. Let's cut to the chase. Sure, Kordanor. No need to know where electricity comes from. You just flip the switch and it works, right? She looks sidelong at Raymond. So, what does your fortune engine do? The fortune engine was designed to improve the balance of chi in a negative chi environment. A negative chi environment? Somewhere shitty, like a slum. Raymond corrects her. Like a low-income housing project. I believed that with the fortune engine, the rebuilt walled city might never become a slum. He drifts off for a moment, remembering, then he squeezes his eyes shut and lowers his head. But the machine malfunctioned. Malfunctioned how? The mechanism I created to circulate negative chi in the walled city. He brings a liver-spotted hand to his mouth. It got stuck. Stuck on what? Raymond rises slowly, pulling himself from his crumpled heap. His tone turns instructive, the old Raymond, but this time his explanation is halting and wary. Think of the future engine as a sort of propeller blade moving through astral space, circulating chi, keeping it, he hunts for the word, fresh. When chi flows, when the rhythm is right, the results are positive, fortuitous. When I brought my design for the fortune engine to my mother, she embraced it. He exhales. She more than embraced it. She backrolled it, put an entire division of Tsang Mechanical under me to develop it. Sounds like a big bet. Raymond nods rapidly, the biggest of her career. Mother said that if the machine could bring fortune to the less fortunate, it would prove my theory. And if it could help the poor, imagine what Fortune Engine could do for Josephine Tsang. Wu jaws clenches. But that's not what happened, was it? Something went wrong. The people in the walled city didn't benefit from your Fortune Engine, did they, Raymond? The old man bows his head, doesn't answer. Raymond, why didn't your Fortune Engine work? It got stuck, he doesn't raise his head. The mechanism I created to circulate negative chi in the walled city got stuck. You can see Wu's patience blowing away like autumn leaves in a high wind. He rubs his head viciously in frustration. Stuck on what, Raymond? The old man gets a confused look on his face. Lips move soundlessly for several moments. Wu leans in close, drops to a whisper, seethes in the foster father's face. Stuck on what? Raymond winces at Wu's tone and stumbles back a step, but it does the job, and the old man focuses. Something in astral space. I wasn't sure what. That sounds bad. The machine started pooling negative chi. The old man's breathing begins to accelerate, and the walled city started to fill with it. Fortunes turned bad. I've been in places where the Feng Shui was really bad. That's not what I felt when I was in the walled city. No chi needs to flow. Eventually, the enormous pool of negative chi became toxic. Fortunes turned from bad to worse, much worse. Raymond's shoulders slumped. Mother's vision for a rebuilt, revitalized walled city fell to ruin. It only took a few years for the trapped toxic chi to turn a brand new housing development into a hellish slum. Why didn't you turn it off? I couldn't. Something happened. Part of the malfunction. We couldn't turn it off. Then why didn't you blow it up, wrap it in C6 and turn it into a scrap heap? Mother refused. Whose tone turns icy cold. Why? I never found out. She wouldn't tell me. She would only say that it was worth spending the additional resources to figure out how to fix it, or even how to turn it off. Words start spilling out of the old man. She sealed off the maintenance room. Our engineers poured a sarcophagus of thick concrete around it so no one would ever find out what we had done. Then she wrote the project off as a business loss and moved on like nothing ever happened, right? Yes. His face flushes and he fidgets with the gauze bandage on his head. After that, I left Hong Kong, started a new life in Seattle, found you two. Jetzt kommt mal zum Punkt, was soll ich denn als nächstes machen? You should have stayed, try to do something about it. Wu grimaces disappointed. You were a coward, Raymond. Yes, Raymond stands up straight, takes a shaky step towards Wu. Yes, Duncan, I was a coward. And the guilt, the burden of my cowardice, gripped me a vice that never loosened. It's eaten me from inside for 20 years. He licks his lips, tries to breathe. And then the nightmares began horrible. Still I kept working on the problem night and day. Did you ever figure out how to stop it? It took me years, even after you left, to make the connections, find what to do. But I did. I figured it out. And still the nightmares intensified until they became unbearable. I knew I had to come back, fix what I had done. That's why I contacted you, to help me see it through. Wu mumbled something, but all you can make out is the word coward. What about the rip? In reality, we saw our vision. Raymond's voice flattens. When the machine malfunctioned, when the circulator became stuck in astral space, it lodged in another domain. He sways and his lips began to tremble, and something lived there. Not good. The old man begins to drift. After 20 years of constant force, the circulator finally began tearing astral space, created a rupture in her domain. He begins rocking in place. And now she's pushing through, and now she's pushing through, and now she's pushing through. Yeah, she's pushing through all right. Wu snarls at his foster father. The queen with 1,000 fucking teeth. A thing you brought here, Raymond. Raymond stops his rocking, becomes fully lucid. He snaps back at Wu. I understand that, Mr. Wu. That's why I came back. I believe she is only partially here. She hasn't pushed all the way through yet. She's probing her new hunting ground. The emotional strain of his snap at Wu rattles him again. I know what to do now. Now to extract the circulator, shut the machine down before she can fully manifest. Just get me to the center of the walled city, to the fortune engine. I will do the rest. Please help me. You helped us overcome some hairy mistakes when we were kids, Ray. Now we get to help you fix yours. Danton's right. There's a thing in there and it needs to be sent home. These visions are turning my guts inside out. I need to stop them at the source. The walled city is a serious revenue source for the trials. If we fix this, Kai Cheng is gonna show us in gold. That machine has caused unspeakable misery. It needs to be shut down. Whatever misery the machine's caused is nothing compared to what's gonna happen now. The little Decker's eyes open wide, more wide than Iris. It's not just a thing in their corridor. It's a Jama king, a demon goddess. Her breathing becomes faster, shallower. I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if I can go back in there. We are trapped we can't run, and believe me, I want to. It's all I've been thinking of. The red shaman's shoulders rise with tension. But the APB is still out on us, and those visions, I got a feeling they're not gonna stop unless we make them stop. And that fragile old man's the only way to do it. We've got to take him there. We've got to help him fix this. I am, for one, wish to see this fortune engine. I am intrigued. Rector's pale eyes glint. I willingly go. Geish's face remains impassive, but his eyelids lower in anticipation. I have the opportunity to kill a god. I cannot allow the opportunity to pass unanswered. I hate this country, I hate this life. Wu sets his jaw and tucks his thumbs into his belt. He stares evenly at Raymond, his voice cold. But I owe you, Raymond, and I'm not walking away from that. I intend to make us even. I'll help you fix your mess, or die trying. Geschafft! Phänomenal! Fear grips the people streaming from inside the walled city. The storm isn't a typhoon, it's something else. So, wir können nochmal hier steigern. Gobbet formulates a new version of the haste spell that harnesses the latent wild magic of Hong Kong. Channeled haste increases friendly targets AP by 1 for 4 rounds when cast. Gobbet's accuracy is increased by 15% for 4 rounds. Shares a cooldown with other haste spells. Naja, nehmen wir das. Pain Suppression. Mini Launcher. Nehmen wir das. Has a magnetic cyber arm installed, allowing him to throw back incoming grenades. Gas grenades. Wobei, doch, nehmen wir das. Whirlwind. Regenerate. Whirlwind, den nutzen wir eh nicht. Predator Again Ability, Air's Heavy Laser. Ah ja, passt. Speichern wir nochmal. Raymond and Wu stand near each other in the rain, staring at the walled city, not talking. The old man looks at you, wary but alert. You look like you have something on your mind, Mr. Milligan. Are you going to be okay, Raymond? I don't think so, no. I'm the product of aborted brain surgery. That combined with all that has happened, I doubt that I will ever be okay. I have no idea when I will. He searches the ground for the word. Break. Raymond touches the bandage on his head. And although I'm relieved that you rescued me before my memory was wiped, part of me grieves at the thought I could have been free from all of this. I bet those people in the walled city wish they could be free from all this too. Indeed, but there are proof people can adapt to harsh circumstances. I will learn to live with this hardship like they have. I think we are all learning a lot here. For example, Mike and I learned that you're a genius who can create magical machines. We learned that you have a rich, powerful mother on the ruling council of Hong Kong who kidnapped you to reprogram your brain. And we learned that the two of you are responsible for the suffering of thousands. Pretty big score from my perspective. Did I get everything, Mike? Left out that you accidentally let a demon god thing move into the neighborhood. Let him be, Duncan. Sure, I let him be. Right after we throw our lives away, trying to undo whatever it is he did 20 years ago. He wheels on Raymond, closes the gap between them. You realize you can't fix it, right, Edward? You can't erase 20 years of misery and suffering. The best you can hope for is to remove the unnatural part of it. Allow that horrible slum to be horrible without toxic chi or whatever you said. You're not gonna push the make it all better button. We can't stop from betting wars, we can't stop her. Got a better idea? No, but I'll tell you one thing, I'm not gonna be like him, I'm not gonna run. Raymond cringes at that, he screws his eyes shut, trying to ward it off. But then he's still for a moment and his jaw sets, and when he opens them again, his eyes are defiant, authoritative. I did what I did to help people, Mr. Wu, and when I couldn't help them anymore, I left and I continued helping people in Seattle. In that teen center, in that slum I took you from. Or did I forget where you were from? Oh, I didn't forget, little man. How could I? with you reminding us of it every chance you get. How you saved our poor little Chinese, saved a poor little Chinese boy. He lowers his head until it's inches from the old man's. After you ran from the thousands who looked just like him. My motivations for helping you aren't relative, Duncan. He points a bony finger at Wu, runs it up and down the orc towering above him. Look at you, the results are what counts. Wu doesn't pull back, he leaves his face a hair's breadth from his foster father. I know, Edward, your motivations for building that machine aren't relevant either. Wu cocks a thumb at the walled city, at the throngs running from it in terror. The results are what counts. The two needs to focus on the job at hand. We can deal with this later. You're right. He takes in the scene unfolding around him with grim determination. We need to do what we can do. Oh, der Typ davor ist weg. Ah, der steht jetzt drin. Aha. Okay, kann man sich sparen. Dann gehen wir nochmal hier runter. Nö. See you around. Können wir uns alles sparen. Gucken wir noch, ob die Kindly Cheng da ist. Sieht nicht so aus, dass man da rein könnte. Die hat sich verabschiedet. Okay. Na dann können wir da nur noch rüber. Und dann machen wir das beim nächsten Mal. Bis denn!